Hello, my name is John Bullock. This is the Light Review. Welcome to our latest video podcast. We're going to be introducing a new company to you today with really a very, very fine pedigree. The presentation is going to be handled by Lawrence Hayes, who's a friend, I think, of an awful lot of us. Lawrence has been around the business and he knows the business inside out and upside down. So we can be sure that we're going to be looking at quality if we've got Lawrence on board. So I'm going to hand over to him and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome in.
Thank you very much, John. Hi, I'm Lawrence Hayes. I'm an independent consultant specializing in assisting lighting designers, architects, interior designers, engineers, and end clients source product, solve problems, specify, and deliver projects worldwide. The last 20 years in the industry has afforded me the luxury of exposure to and working relationships with hundreds, if not thousands, of manufacturers from every corner of the world. As always, I'm searching for the interesting, the niche, the innovative, and market-leading brands. More importantly, I'm searching for solutions to designers' problems. Having been introduced to Lorenzo Abdul by my good friends and industry stalwarts Simon and Matt, it became clear to me that their outsider approach was not just refreshing and unique, but through the collaboration with F-Mark had borne some very innovative product fruit. My role here today is to introduce you to the team and to give you a better understanding of ULS and its products. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce you to Abdul, the Managing Director, and Lorenzo, Director of Sales and Marketing. Over to you guys.
The company was launched in late 2018 with the willingness to do something different. We got the inspiration while working on a project where we were exposed to a lot of the commoditization that was going on in the lighting industry. Value was taken out at the expense of competitive pricing, and the project ultimately suffered from this. And that's what sparked our inspiration. We saw an opportunity and we made it our mission to challenge this and bring value back into the industry. We wanted to deliver light without compromise. And what that means is we don't want customers to have to compromise on quality, performance, or service for price. We want to bring a Tesla-esque model into lighting. Affordable, high-end products that are superior in performance, beautiful in design, and easy to specify, with a little bit of Swissness at the heart of everything.
When we started, we built the company around some guiding principles, which are elegance, performance, sustainability, and people. Elegance, designs have to be simple and timeless, capturing the beauty and minimalism. Performance, market-leading light quality and efficiency. Sustainability, not only having efficient fixtures, but engineered with reduced components, durable materials, and designed for a circular economy, ultimately increasing the life cycle of the product. The people, the choice in people you partner with is the most important, and we were fortunate enough to collaborate with some of the best in the industry, whether it's F-Mark in design, Ian in technical engineering, and Lawrence as a specialized consultant, helping us in business development. I will now pass over to Lawrence, who will introduce the next section.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo and Abdul. Wow, that gives us a proper solid background as to why. I love the Teslaization word. I'm keeping that one. Thank you. I'd like to pass you over now to Simon, who's going to give you an insight into the design and the background of the products.
Thank you, Lawrence. I met with the guys at ULS at the back end of 2017. And at the time, they were nearing completion of their recessed product called UDisc. That's the product that you can see on screen now. And what we had was we were presented with a unique opportunity to do a couple of things. One was to develop a product line and a range of products from the ground up and really have a strong influence on the strategy of the business moving forwards. And also to design the fixtures where actually price wasn't the only metric, which is very often the case these days. Initially, we looked at a complementary product line to UDisc, and this formed products in a linear format to suit this, to complement the circular products. And we also looked at how we could extend the UDisc offer for our customers. And this was to primarily service the office applications. And out of that, our general principles were identified. And this formed the key messaging for ULS. This key messaging involved the following points. Jungbecke, which most of you will probably know is our absolute industry leaders at extracting light through a waveguide. So this is our acrylic panel technology. We wanted to make sure that technology was at the center of everything we did. And LEDs were literally at the center of every single product. I'll explain that in a moment. We wanted to adopt a consistent product design and a consistent design language amongst the fittings. And then where possible, we wanted to expose the thickness of the waveguide and achieve this sleek and minimal approach to the product development. We didn't want to create a huge product offer. We wanted to keep it very concise, but within the product design, we wanted to build flexibility so that we could change color, we could alter size, we could introduce different control options, and also different sealing integrations. And actually, smart would be at the center of everything we do here. Now, all of the product design has been developed in a way to meet sustainable standards and the principles of a circular economy. And of course, this is the start point. So as we move forward, we will extend existing products within the portfolio, and we'll look at how we can complement products as we move forward. So to the products. The first product we launched is Island. This is a suspended product where the LEDs sit around the perimeter of the central island and radiate light outwards. And when the product is on, obviously we see the light, and when the LEDs are off, then the waveguide actually goes transparent. This product's available in DALI, and actually all the products are now available in wireless capability as well. Uline is the second product in the portfolio. Uline is also available as a suspended solution like Island, but in addition, it's also available in semi-recessed and surface-mounted options. And the distribution is direct and direct-indirect options. You saw on the earlier slide that UDisc was available in surface-mounted, semi-recessed and recessed options. We have extended that range to also include suspended solutions, and those suspended solutions are available in direct and direct-indirect options. And lastly, we developed UPod. And UPod services a more commodity end of the commercial office space, available in a variety of dimensions that you classically see with recessed luminaires, 600 square, 1200 by 300, 1200 by 600, 1500 by 300, and actually the equivalent kind of European versions, so 620 square and so on. I'll hand you back to Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. That gives us a deep insight into the how, and I'm now going to pass you over to Ian, who's going to give you a bit more background and complete the story.
So how did I get involved? I was walking through London and got a telephone call to do some training in Zurich for an obscure company startup. And I recognized one of the names, the Lorenzo, and realized I'd worked on some football stadia with this guy in a previous life. And when I turned up in Zurich, the phone rang and it was Simon. And Simon was on there saying, we're designing some light fittings for this company. You might want to get involved. And literally I was walking down the road to the office to train these guys and to find out what technical support they needed. So we spent 2 days in a fairly small hotel conference room discussing light. And over those 2 days, including some guys from Jungbecke, I suddenly realized this startup was not just about making boring flat panel luminaires by the millions. This was about designing high quality optics, great aesthetic luminaires, up in the top quartile of performance, the sort of stuff I'd want to use as a lighting designer, the sort of stuff I'd want to specify. And I left that meeting actually thinking, well, okay, I've done my bit, the training's done, and these guys will be off on their own. But was just impressed by the quality of their thought process. and was really happy that actually the phone rang a few days later and they said, technically, we need to get this stuff to market. What can you do? So that started a process of how do we think about product design? I mean, Simon was there looking at the physical attributes of how you get this stuff together and assemble it. And we started to have conversations about the quality of the actual light that comes out. We had long discussions about glare. You know that thing you hear in the market, oh, it's UGR 19 compliant? Well, we turned that into how do we make this a comfortable luminaire to work underneath rather than just ticking the box. And then we extended that across all the products. So as they came to market, there were discussions about, okay, what is the glare? What are the glare properties? How do we improve it even further? When we talk about color, what's really, you know, if we tick the box for standards, what does that mean? How can we go further? How can we beat the players in the market who are just doing standard stuff and make this really high quality design, high value, the sort of stuff you would really want in your office, the stuff I want to be sitting under now working in. And that became one of the core values. You know, every time we've talked about this, high quality design, how we get it to market, tested, photometered, performing, absolutely, it's been just a pleasure to do that. And I think when you choose a group of people to work with, and that means if you're going to specify luminaires, the people you're going to be buying them from, the people you're going to be getting service from, then their core values have to be something that chime with you. So the idea that when you talk about elegance, for me, elegance is timeless. You know, it's the sort of stuff you can put in any space and it just fits. It's not garish colors, weird shapes. It's just those beautiful shapes and forms. And each of the products in the range has that elegant aesthetic to it. And when we talk about leading performance, it's always a balance. Everybody knows it's a balance. You can have fantastic lumens per watt and suffer on color. But what we did was we said, okay, where do we fit? What are our core values? Is color really important? Yes, it is, absolutely. Is leading energy efficiency important? Well, actually, provided the product is comfortable to work under. So there's that balance in terms of performance. Clearly, you've seen the people in the room. There's some reputations flying around, and we live and breathe them. You know, the people are trying to bring the best product together in the best way to markets that really care about that. And doing that sustainably, not just as in, yeah, we want future business. We want to be supplying stuff to our customers for the next 50 years, but also how do you design it so you can take it apart, you can service bits, you can recycle bits, you can feed them back into the economy. You know, I'm hoping at one point that luminaires above my head will be passed on to someone else because they're still working and still performing. So the core values to me just brought it all together. Back to Lawrence.
Thank you, Ian. That certainly gave us an in-depth insight into the background and your role. And the next section is a Q&A. We decided we would put some questions to the team in order to give you, the listener, a bit more of an insight into technical and other characteristics inside the company. We asked 3 different lighting designers to come up with a selection of questions, and in no particular order, the first question, which is addressed to Abdul and Lorenzo, comes from Kevin Grant of Light Alliance. Kevin asks, the information circulated, in other words, the presentation, mentions the tagline, focusing where the big players stop. Can you elaborate on this and explain what is meant with some examples? For example, additional services, features or benefits, comparisons against similar or other big players. For example, lumen per meter, watts per meter, price per meter, optical control, beam options. Fairly all-encompassing question, but over to you guys.
Thank you, Kevin, for raising the question. The statement goes further than just producing high-end products. It's not only about pricing, features, or attributes. You'll find products that have similar specification or pricing. It's more about the customer and what they want and how we treat and talk to them. And when we say focusing where the big players stop, we need to be uncomplicated and flexible. Approachable, friendly, and easy to talk to. So offering a high level of service, even on smaller MOQs, and the ability to customize product for specific project needs. So basically the willingness to start something different and develop an idea together with the client and then just roll with it. We don't have long internal processes and can quickly execute on an idea. To give you an example, we had a project where we developed a bespoke variation of one of our fixtures together with our client and brought it to the market in a matter of months. And this all came out of a need that the customer had. So really, it's about being market and service oriented.
Thank you very much, guys. Next question, specifically to Simon, comes from Richard Cameron from Lightivity. He's asking, on the Island product, is 1250 the longest length available? And can you do this in bespoke lengths? For example, 2 meter, 2.5 meter? Over to you, Simon.
Oh, thanks, Lawrence, and thanks for the question, Richard. The short answer is yes. There are, as usual, some sort of mechanical limitations with regards to the materials that we use. So as an example, the sheet size for the waveguide is 2.4 meters, 8 feet in all money. So we do have some limitations, but I would certainly suggest that if you have a specific need, I'm sure that we'd be delighted to have a conversation with you about it. But in addition to that, then, I explained a little bit earlier, actually all of the products have been designed with a degree of flexibility attributed to them. Now, whether that's a desire to extend products and extend ranges over time, whether that's introducing specific color temperatures to meet a project need. We're now developing tunable white solutions to go with our static color solutions. Direct and indirect products and the proportions of that. And actually, Richard asked another question, which was around sizing of things like UDisc. And again, different diameters of something like UDisc is certainly a possibility. And again, we'd be delighted to have a conversation about that if it requires it on a project.
Excellent, Simon. Thank you very much for that. Next question also comes from Richard. Specifically, I think Ian's going to take this one. In terms of ongoing support, I'm finding that project programs and timeframes are being squeezed in a bid to save money. This tends to result in shorter supply lead times and installation phases at the end of the project. As I've experienced, this also tends to result in on-site problems. Do ULS have local support to help designers and contractors, installers iron out any issues late in the project?
A really interesting question, actually, Richard, and it's a challenge for all companies now to give online support or support local to the projects. We're a team of people geographically spread around the globe, and we're there, I would say 24 hours a day, but yeah, I have to sleep at some point, to give the technical support when we need to. And actually, Lorenzo is probably smiling in the background because I sent him some stuff just yesterday on a Sunday, and he was kind of, what, you know, why is it coming through now? But yes, we've got data available. We can make data available in any formats. We, as you can see, we're now doing video conferencing. It's the future. So we're there to give you the support you need when you need it. And ultimately, if you need somebody on site to help out, then like all other companies, we have agreements with people in place to get there and do those bits of support. But we are an agile group of individuals, and we will pick up and run with stuff as and when the problems arise. But we're really hoping that we've done such a good job of designing the products. They're easy to install, the bits are easy to replace if necessary, and not that much is going to go wrong.
Thank you very much, Ian. Okay, moving on. Next question comes from Xavier Fulbright at Luminaire Studio. I think, Ian, this one's addressed to you again. What is ULS's strategy to define their design pedigree and gain aesthetical acceptance among all the lead interior designers and architects? If a company can infiltrate the architectural design community, then lighting designers potentially will not be wasting their time or going out on a limb to propose ULS products. Over to you.
Xavier, oh, wow, what a powerful question. I don't know, where do you start with that one? Yeah, we're a small startup, so getting personally around to every potential customer is going to be quite difficult. Lorenzo and the team and the marketing team behind this ULS setup are big on social media, so there's lots of stuff going out there. We are exploiting all the modern media to try and get images and data out to people. I know also Lorenzo is very, very well connected and turns up in some incredible places and just goes, do you know, I had lunch with so-and-so the other day. So I suspect if he's got your contact details, he'll be there. One of the team will be there talking to you. Can we get to everyone? No, but we're well aware that design is moved. getting in front of designers is quite difficult unless you live and breathe and, you know, are next door to them. And so we're exploiting other forms of media to at least get their interest. And then, yes, Xavier, we're going to have to do a lot of work to convince you that the people you see in the room have the pedigree and the product matches the pedigree of the people. And yes, when you install it, it really will perform.
Wonderful, Ian. Thank you very much. Succinct answer. Okay, so some very interesting questions and answers there. Thanks to all the designers who took the time to put some questions to the team. And that's the end of the presentation. So thank you very much for tuning in and for staying with us all the way to the end. No doubt there'll be future presentations, but if anyone has any further interest on the product or the brand, please don't hesitate to contact any of the people in this presentation. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.